places where they have to, like, back it up with some kind of an existence of a human being. Here, Twitter, you don't need that. So it's famous for bots and, the havoc that bots create. Top tweets, and there is another feed that says latest. What that does is, it, even if you're like a non-entity, even if you have 2 followers only, you have a chance of being discovered by somebody because there is a special feed. Like on Instagram, probably the most popular accounts show up.
Welcome back to day 1 of the Storyteller Social Summit. Happy World Social Media Day again. We are almost nearing the end. I know we've been taking in so much. It's been a lovely day with all of you today. Now, we're going to go deep and focus on one platform. We've been seeing how to leverage multiple platforms, several concepts as to how we can focus, grow our presence. Now, we're going to go deep dive into Twitter. And we have none other than Priya Parthasarathy here joining us. So what we did was, Priya is our surprise guest for the summit. And we sent out a post saying, can you guys try to figure out who our surprise guest is? And this is what she's talking about. And in the next few minutes, Aravind S came up with the right answer. They guessed her right away. That is how popular Priya is. Thank you so much for joining us here, Priya. Rajesh is going to be a lovely host for the session. Over to you, Rajesh. Oops, just before that. You guys came here looking at the cool email reminder, right? That was sent to you through HandySense. Make sure you check them out. Over to you, Rajesh.
Priya Parthasarathy is a digital marketing professional who learned the art and science of digital marketing the best way possible by getting her hands dirty, doing it for an e-commerce startup. She is now the co-founder and digital director of a marketing startup called Prequel Lab. Prequel Lab helps companies position and build their brands online by focusing on strategy, content, and data. She has an MBA thesis from University of Calgary, Canada, and a PhD in finance from TA Pi Management, and a bachelor's degree in statistics from Madras Christian College, Chennai. She has lived and worked in 6 different countries and brings a rich experience in understanding audience to add value to marketing messages online. Over to you, Priya.
Thank you, Rajesh. And hi, Kaushik. I'm very happy to be here to be a presenter in the Storytellers Summit for the World Social Media Day. Thanks for having me. And today I'm going to be talking about how brands and marketers can use Twitter to also as an important part of their social media mix. So can we go right away into the session? So I'm going to be talking about why Twitter should be an important part of your social media mix, and how brands can leverage Twitter and the power it offers. So Twitter is a microblogging network that allows individuals or brands to connect with anyone in the world to share their ideas, views on any topic. It's an idea sharing platform, but it has a limitation of 280 characters per tweet. So each post is called a tweet there. And the distinguishing feature about this is that it has a character limit. It used to be 140 characters. Now they've made it into 280. What this does is it makes you very sharp in sharing your message, because you can't be verbose. You need to be really trite, and you have to be be able to convey what you want to say in a few sentences, because that's all it allows. And it works really well. I love Twitter. I'm a regular user of Twitter, and I'll walk you through why it is very important. Before that, a short, brief, some facts and figures about Twitter. Now, Twitter has 336 million monthly active users. These are active users, not the total number of accounts. And it has 100 million daily active users. This is worldwide, not just in India. But out of this, Twitter estimates about 48 million users are bots. The funny thing about Twitter is, how it is different from the other platforms, is that it doesn't ask you for you don't have to share much of personal details. All you need is one email ID, and you can open an account. And that is why it is very easy for bots to be on Twitter, as opposed to other places where they have to, like, back it up with some kind of an existence of a human being. Here, Twitter, you don't need that. So it's famous for bots and, the havoc that bots create. That's another story for another day. So about 500 million tweets are posted every single day. I mean, that's a lot of tweet, and it's a very active chatter-filled platform, as you can see from the numbers. The best thing about Twitter is that all the top leaders of the world, the biggest celebrities, journalists, from the music, movies, sports stars, all of them are there on Twitter. And because it is kind of a platform where an individual can talk to more number of people, it is preferred by celebrities and world leaders, which gives this platform the power that it has. Let me walk you through that as I go into the presentation. As for marketers, social media marketers in India, Facebook is the preferred platform. Closely, I mean, Facebook and Instagram, of course, which is the same, same ownership, because the ads run on both platforms. Because Facebook is, I call it the granddaddy of social media, although it came into existence a little later than other things. It has like 2 billion users, and that's like practically everybody, right? And any brand wants to target anybody, they're on Facebook. I mean, even if they're not active, they have a profile. So that is what makes Facebook so charming for everybody. Twitter has, compared to that, a far lesser number of users. But what I like about Twitter is Twitter has engaged users, in the sense people who are a little serious about wanting to connect with people, wanting to know about things, wanting to share ideas and, talk about topics that are dear to them, as opposed to Facebook, where people are just, posting pictures, and people are a lot more flippant on Facebook than on Twitter. Twitter is not a place where you come to, just while away time. Here you are there with a purpose. And that's what makes Twitter a little bit more better for brands, because you know that people are there with a passion. I mean, if you're not passionate, you're not on Twitter, but you can just be, like scrolling on Instagram or Facebook. Twitter is not like that. And that's why, I mean, not a lot of brands actually are on Twitter, or even if they are, I mean, if you see most brands, what they do is they just connect their Instagram feed, I mean, their Twitter account to their Instagram feed, and whatever they post there comes on Twitter automatically as a link. So, I mean, if you see, a lot of brands have their feed like that on Twitter. If you go, it just has links to their Instagram posts. And there's no point in doing that. You might as well not do it. I mean, it's just their profile is there, but that's it. Or even if people, I mean, if companies do make an effort to post, it's mostly, post that was created for Facebook or Instagram, which is shared here. I mean, original content for Twitter is much less. I mean, brands are not focusing so much on that. I mean, big brands do, but the smaller ones, or the local ones don't do so much. In fact, even in the US, where social media is a huge deal and companies have embraced it much before us, only 65% of the companies are on Twitter. So I'm guessing in India it's much lesser in terms of the number of people on it. So, getting into 10 reasons why Twitter is important and how one could leverage the power it gives marketers. Number 1, Twitter is a top source of news. The way Twitter is organized, it's like, it doesn't force you to post anything with a picture like Instagram does. It doesn't, it's not like if you go on a Facebook feed, it's got all your friends posting pictures, videos, blah, blah, blah. And then if you just write 2 lines of text, nobody's going to see that. It'll get lost. So it kind of like, it makes you, kind of forces you to share always with images or videos. Whereas Twitter is not like that. I mean, it's perfectly fine to just share 2 lines and people do read it, because most of them only do that, which is why it is very easy for journalists to use Twitter. Also, the Twitter mobile app is probably the lightest, because of lack of images and videos as much as the other platforms. It loads like that. So even if somebody is traveling and journalists at the war front or wherever they are, it's probably easy for them with the minimal amount of data to tweet something. And that is why journalists prefer Twitter, news agencies prefer Twitter. That is where they first break the news, which gives us the power to be the trendsetter. Like if there's anything that's happening in the world and I want to know about it, Twitter is the first place I go to. Kind of rides on this wave of what's trending. Then the number two, it's okay. Twitter allows you to tag people, right? I mean, you can tag anybody, literally anybody. Today I can tweet tagging Donald Trump. I mean, it's another thing whether he's going to read it and respond to it or not. But the point is, it allows me, it gives me the power to tag him and say, like, you know what, I like you, I don't like you, whatever, whatever I want to say. Or you can ask, a lot of people do that in terms of the first place, people go to rant and rave about delayed flights or like something's not working. In fact, whenever my internet is unstable, I go to Twitter and I tag like, ACT, Hathaway, whoever, and I say that, hey, what's happening? Why is it not active? And they do respond. And the other thing, other reason people do tagging is to draw attention. Say, I want somebody's attention, some celebrity to notice me, or like, somebody to notice me, then I would tag them. Or like, I have a friend who's interested in a topic and something's happened that I think he or she would like to know. I can tag them in that as a response and say that, hey, look at this. This is happening and you can see. In Facebook, I may not be able to do it because that person and this person has to be connected to see each other, right? Whereas on Twitter, that's not necessary. So it makes it very easy to connect people and to make each other aware of trends and whatever. And also another thing people do is to request a retweet. Like, this happens routinely. Like, people tweet asking for, blood donation, right? There's some hospital in Mumbai wants AB negative, blood type. And people will come and tweet. And in fact, some people will actually tag Amitabh Bachchan and ask him to retweet it. And he does. A lot of times he does. What that does is, he has like several million followers. And so it's easy for people to quickly get that going for them. And so a lot of celebrities actually do it. And if it's a cause that they care about, if you're saying like, somebody needs something here, or you want to draw the attention of even government bodies and things like that, police station. I mean, this happens all the time where people are tagging and asking for information and sharing things like that. So this is a very good thing that Twitter allows. Just to show an example. So this is, somebody called Soumitra Joshi is tweeted to Anand Mahindra saying that, hats off and, this car is done well. I'm wading through 4 feet deep water and your car's doing very well. This is just some random guy, right, off the street. And then good thing is like, Anand Mahindra is like the chairman, managing director of Mahindra & Mahindra. And he writes back saying that, hey, I'm very happy to hear that, but don't push it. It's not an amphibious vehicle. One, this is very funny that he said this. Number two, I mean, it's like a big brand endorsement for the TUV 300 or whatever that vehicle is, which I didn't know about until I read this tweet. So it's a funny exchange that brings a lot of attention to a particular product, which would not be, others wouldn't have noticed. I mean, here, Mahindra didn't do anything to push his product, right? Somebody's done it and he's given a funny retort and that's it. And look at it, it's got like some 2,000 likes, which is, we don't get these kind of things on other platforms. Or brands actually joust with each other. They tease each other to get some attention. Like this is an old tweet where Old Spice is saying, why is it called fire sauce? Is there fire in it? And then Taco Bell came back saying, do you have old spices in your deodorant? Why are you called Old Spice? It's so funny, this, these two brands teasing each other, that it's got some 1,000 people retweeting it. So actually companies can do that as long as you are like, you are not irreverent, as long as you're respectful. People don't, I mean, it's a common thing on Twitter where, smaller companies can go and tag like much larger corporations and say things or like introduce themselves. A lot of things are possible. And this is another funny thing between somebody is like tagged Tesco, which is a huge supermarket chain in the West, and asked for a free milkshake. Now this Tesco has tweeted back saying like, you can have a free milkshake when Arsenal wins the Champions League, which is never going to be, so you're not going to get a milkshake. So, it's like, they've actually targeted all the sports lovers. They brought humor into it. And, it's really funny when these kind of things happen. These brands get noticed a lot. And also people start sharing it because it's funny. You don't have to in any of these tweets, there is no big graphic involved. There's no video, nothing. I mean, it's just two lines and 2 sentences, that's it. And that can give you so much brand, reach and impressions. Number 3, advertising. Okay, this is a big thing. Like, Facebook advertising has become so complicated. Like, I've been using it for the last, 10 years plus now. What used was like, 1 or 2 kind of ad. Now there's like, they have so many different systems and so many different placements, and sometimes you get lost how many different resizings you have to do on all these. It's first of all, it's a pain to create the ads, and then another pain to actually get noticed. Because people are also kind of immune to these ads, right? I absolutely hate YouTube ads because they're so disruptive. You're hearing something, you're listening to something, you're watching something, suddenly an ad comes. You can't wait for those 4 seconds to skip the ad, right? Or Facebook advertising as well. You're just scrolling through your newsfeed and you hardly notice these ads anymore. But Twitter, the good thing is, people come to Twitter to learn new things, to know about trends. So it's it's nice. It's acceptable. Like, if you see the example there, there's a tweet by Google India. It's actually, if you see at the bottom, it says promoted. So they've actually boosted this post. So it's come on my timeline. And they're talking, there was a rumor saying that don't use that Google Tez money because it's not vetted by the RBI or something. Some WhatsApp forward was happening a few days back. So they've come up with this retort saying they placed an item in Economic Times, and then they've used that to tweet saying, but it's good for me to know that, because I have read that WhatsApp thing, and then I need to know what the company is saying about it as well. So it's good, and I appreciate that it came on my timeline. It's not an irritant for me. It's actually good information. Because what happens is, it's not frivolous information. When this happens on Twitter, it's actually like, important information that I want to consume. And also, it's not like, on Facebook ads, if you see people write some big Ramayana in Facebook ads as description text, even if it's nothing that I'm interested in, it's not bothering me so much, because it's just like, one tweet and then you are. So it's non-disruptive. That's a good thing about Twitter ads. You can also do like, who to follow. It gives recommendations based on who you're following and what your likes and all that. Profiles you and gives suggestions, right, as to who to follow. You can place ads there as well. So there are not too many different types of ads. A few types only are there, but they really work. And the best thing about is the engagement rate is very high. As opposed to Facebook's, you might get more impressions on Facebook, like no doubt about it, because there are so many more users there. But the click-through rate in Facebook right now is like 0.1%, like this is a general average. It might be different for each industry and company. But an overall average of 0.1% is the click-through rate on Facebook ads. Okay, so on Facebook, people post like long descriptions, and it's irritating to see these. It's really disruptive to my my experience, my wall feed. Whereas on Twitter, that doesn't happen, because you have to stick to that 280 characters. It's not too much of an irritant for me to see a promoted tweet on my, and if the information is also relevant, then all the more fun. You can also do, Twitter gives recommendations on who to follow based on your preferences and who the others you're following. You can actually place an ad there as well and recommend people. Basically, it's like a likes campaign, right? So there are not too many different types of Twitter ads, only a few types of ads as compared to Facebook. There are like a gazillion options now. But the best thing about Twitter is that it gives you a very good engagement rate. 1 to 3% engagement rate, CTR, as compared to Facebook's 0.1%. Like a general average is 0.1% click-through rate, whereas Twitter gives you much better engagement. So, and even if the ads are a little bit more expensive, the engagement rate makes up for it, and a lot more informed audience on Twitter. You don't get all kinds of people, probably more educated. So your audience is also like urban, well-educated, well-read, that kind of a profile. So it is a good thing for a lot of brands. Hashtags. This is the best part of Twitter, actually. Even though you have the hashtag feature on Instagram, which works quite well to discover, it is not as robust as your Twitter discoverability. Because Twitter is, because it's also text heavy, people are talking about information just in text format. Also, the other thing is Twitter gives you the option to look at the latest tweet. I mean, there are two feeds when you search on a topic. It gives you like top tweets, and there is another feed that says latest. What that does is, it even if you're like a non-entity, even if you have like 2 followers only, you have a chance of being discovered by somebody because there is a special feed. Like on Instagram, probably the most popular accounts show up. Or like the algorithm is completely it's not even transparent, whereas here it shows like one thing where the top tweets are shown and then was the latest. So what happens is, if you are tweeting on a particular topic, it's very likely that somebody could look at it, and if you've said something smart about it, you could get shared by people, and people will discover you. Or if something is trending and you happen to be in that space, then you have a higher chance of being discovered by people. So the hashtag feature is very, very powerful on Twitter. And that is why you see that all the trends anywhere in the world, Twitter is the place that people pick up. Any TV reporting you see, they say that this is trending on Twitter. Nobody says this is trending on Facebook or whatever. Mostly the trends all happen on Twitter because of the power of this hashtag discoverability. I'll share one, one of our very interesting success stories with this. So Sharon Ply is a brand that I work closely with. I handle all the strategy for their social media marketing. It's a South Indian brand. They do they make plywood, which is nobody is interested in plywood. I mean, who cares about what plywood I'm using? So it's that kind of a brand. So we come up with different things to make it interesting, because you talk about plywood, nobody's going to listen to you. Nobody is even worried. So the couple of things we did was that the brand is positioned as, their tagline used to be called strong to the core. Now for the digital age, we repositioned it as a hashtag I am strongest. Actually, a lot of brands do this now. It is very good to have a brand hashtag. It's not like, of course, you can always adopt other hashtags, but consistently having one hashtag that the brand rolls with is very good strategy, because one thing is people can instantly search for you using that. The other one is it also helps in positioning. So the hashtag now serves as the tagline, or it helps in positioning you as something. So when we call this I am strongest, subliminally we are influencing the viewers that this is the strongest plywood in the market, right? Which is strength is a very important characteristic for this product. So that way it is very very powerful to have a hashtag like that. So we did at that time when last year when the World Cup was happening. I mean, all and sundry were talking about the World Cup, right? So you need to do something to capture the attention that the World Cup was getting. I mean, everybody is following that. How do you also become a part of that? How do you take a piece of the cake and roll with it? So what we came up with, we devised a contest, and people were asked to predict the Indian team's score one day before the game. And, along with the prediction, they had to say hashtag I am strong. They had to just include the hashtag. So, first of all, we made people repeat that hashtag every day. As in when the matches were happening, they were using it. And when large number of people were using that hashtag, then, we hadn't anticipated it, but it happened. Was that actually the contest was very interesting, because they had to do was guess a score, and they were getting 10 times the score's value as an Amazon voucher. So, it was a very interesting contest and easy to win kind of a thing for every match. So we had a lot of participation. And as I said, because people were tweeting that hashtag, we trended nationwide on couple of different occasions. If you see hashtag I am strongest trended from July 8th at 9:25 in the morning till 3 o'clock on July 10th. That's like whole almost 2 full days of trending at number 2 position, number 3 or 2 position. What it did was, one thing, it's one thing we can say, we trended, it's some brag value. But more than that, what happened was, whenever the trends happen, on Twitter, it's very, people, what they do, they go to the trending, there's a separate screen for what is trending, right? You go there and you check out what's trending, because that tells you what's happening, what's captured people's fancy on that particular day, right? So you always go check out there. And suddenly people are saying hashtag Sharon Ply and hashtag I'm strong is there. It gives a huge visibility to the brand. which otherwise would not have been possible. And if you see, and a lot of people were tweeting like, who's Sharon Ply? What is I Am Strongest? Why is this trending? A lot of people were actually tweeting this and including that hashtag again, which just multiplied the trending effect. And for like 2-3 days, these hashtags were trending. In fact, Twitter offers the advertisers the chance to buy a trending hashtag. Big brands do that. When a car is getting launched, or a Hyundai would collaborate with Twitter and say, trend my hashtag for 2 days. It comes at a big cost, like 13, 14 lakhs or something is what I think is a per day's trending expense. But Sharon Ply, we pulled this off for 2 days. At total cost, I think the whole contest ran for like 2-3 weeks till whatever time the World Cup lasted. And I think the total prize money we gave was like 2 lakhs or something, for which we got to trend the hashtag on so many different occasions. What happened is we got so many impressions. The traffic to the website increased. I don't have the statistics for that, but it did like go up a lot. And the engagement rate was 6%. I mean, that's like huge, right? And we also got, the Twitter followers count jumped like 5 times. So all of that happened because, of consistently using the hashtag. And since then also we've always used that hashtag. Every post, every day that hashtag is used. So in fact, people, when they respond to the tweets, they also have started using the hashtag. So it's like people have internalized the hashtag. And it's also a very generic thing, right? Like I am strongest. I can use it in so many different situations. Applying it to people, applying it to the Indian Army or whatever, right? And so it works really well. So getting a good hashtag and using it on Twitter has a lot of power. Okay, and then this is the other great thing, like Twitter humanizes brand. What I mean by humanizing is on other channels, you're like, the brand pages are separate. On Twitter, there is no differentiation between brand pages or individual profiles. It's all the same. There is no distinction. You can be a brand page, you can be an individual. Your account looks the same. There is no difference. And anybody can tag anybody. It works exactly the same for a person and a brand. So brands also, they tend to talk in a more personalized way. And that helps because then your brand is able to get a voice. Your brand is able to get a personality. Which works really well to make the connections with the audience, because the audience are able to like connect with a person than with a brand, right? I'll show you some examples when this really worked. Like, okay, so this is a very, very nice, very smart story that happened, which was carried by a lot of news outlets as well. So Sunil Chhetri is, I guess, a big footballer in India. He's popular with the young crowd on Twitter, and he had somebody had sent him a direct message. That's the other thing that Twitter allows you. You can actually send a message to a celebrity, whether they read it or not is a thing, but sometimes they do read it, and if they respond, it's like fantastic, right? So somebody has sent him a message saying, give me, you don't have to give me anything else, give me your user ID for Netflix and you can change your password after the lockdown is over. So cute. And he took a screenshot of it and he tweeted saying, like, look at this guy. He doesn't want a jersey. He doesn't want an autograph. All he wants is my Netflix password. You know what? Since he's so sincere and straightforward, I think I might actually give it to him. When he tweeted this, it was so funny and so endearing. Actually, it made Sunil Chhetri, like, it brought him closer to his fans. Like, he's so genuine and he's like, he's responding to fans and things like that. And other sports personalities started, responding to this. Like, I remember seeing Sania Mirza responding to it. And she had put like, haha, she retweeted it. So a lot of people had carried, a lot of celebrities jumped into it. And, Netflix being a smart brand, and they have very good, very funny presence on Twitter. If you're not following them on Twitter, you should. They're really funny. Whoever is running their handles doing a great job. They also got into the fray and they responded to this saying, what? While you're at it, give us also an autograph. And then Sunil Chhetri retweeted that and he said, what? Why don't you actually give them the Netflix, give them a free account? And then Netflix said that, yeah, you give a jersey, we'll give a free account and, let's make this day. And this just went viral because these are like, one big brand and one big star who are responding to an ordinary guy's request. And it's such an endearing story. What it does is it makes Netflix as a very, a brand that respects its audience and somebody who connects with the audience. So that is what happens. Like, these kind of exchanges are not possible on other platforms. This is only possible on Twitter. And this is what makes it so interesting and so nice. So celebrities use it very nicely. I mean, if they use it well, they can do a great job of connecting with their fans. This is another one where Zomato had made they're taking a funny take on something like, dad is saying my son is going to grow up to be a collector, and then the son becomes a collector of oregano and chili flakes packets. Like, come on, how many of us have, when we order pizza, we do retain the extra chili flakes packets. So if you don't throw it away, we collect it. For what we use it, we don't know, but we do collect it. And this kind of all of us do it. And for the brand to say it, it's striking a chord with us, right? It's a direct connection. This is how they are able to have this nice conversation with us. And so many people responded saying, hey, what about the ketchup? Don't forget the napkins. Don't forget the plastic spoons. And these are things that people do. And for a brand to recognize it and talk about it. Again, here, if you see, there is no fantastic... It's really interesting that to have these kind of conversations. And this is what I mean by it's able to humanize brands. Then the other thing is, as I mentioned earlier, it's a really good platform for customer service. Hang on, just give me a minute. I need to do something with this phone and prop it somewhere because my hands are really aching from holding it at a particular height.
Yes, sir. I was wondering how long will you keep holding it? Please rest it somewhere.
Because if I leave it down, it's at an odd height. Let me just get
Keep something in between, maybe to hold the phone.
Yeah, I'm just trying to put some.
Some jugaad kind of thing.
Yeah, of course. Better now?
Yeah, this is perfect.
Okay, fine. So yeah, customer service is it's a great platform for customer service. One, because of the speed of your ability to respond, and also, I mean, anybody who has a grudge against any company, this is the first place they go to complain. And because it is an open platform that anybody can see anything, anyone can connect with anyone, it also can cause big damage to company's reputation if there is a kind of a complaint against you. And what is good about it is it lets you also respond immediately so that you can actually do damage control. In fact, there is a study that says that when companies do respond immediately, customers look at it favorably, even if there is a grudge. I mean, people all know, I mean, mostly airlines and all, they always it's delayed or like food didn't come or the baggage was lost. These kind of complaints come a lot. People do understand these things happen. But when they come and complain and you don't respond, then it's seen as arrogance or whatever, right? But when you respond immediately and say, okay, come on, we are handling it, it's seen favorably. So in fact, a study says that some 44% are likely to share that, I had this complaint, but they handled it well. And 30% are likely to recommend the brand even. And your average rating goes up by 1 point. I mean, that's huge, right? If you're a 3-star, you suddenly become 4-star. So the customer service part of it is very important. And if not for anything else, brand should have a Twitter profile that is actively managed only so that they can respond to their customers, because that's the platform people do come to complain. The other fantastic feature is the Twitter polls. I mean, every other platform has polls. So what is so great about this? What is great is that people come to Twitter to express their opinions. It's not a platform where they're coming to show their vacation photos. It is a platform where they come to talk about ideas and their views on news and things like that. So they are more likely to respond to polls, to respond to serious questions, not like, flaky, whether you like pink nail polish or blue nail polish, not those kind of, I mean, you can ask that also. But more things like, should we go with this? We are coming up with this product. What is it that you want to see in our new product? Or those kind of questions where there's more engaging. You can ask for customer insights, like what is this one feature that you like about our service? Things like that. They're more likely to respond. And because also, it comes, you can promote these polls so that you get a lot more responses and you can get good data out of these things. Like Marvel Entertainment is asking, like, if you can bring only one of a hero, which one would you choose? It tells them like who's famous now. Like Black Widow was chosen. They're making a movie on Black Widow now, I think, which I don't know if they had planned it before. So, who's popular and, what services used better. Like Airbnb, they ask like what's a must have for your Airbnb escape. So mountain views is a popular thing. So, probably it helps the company to go invest in more mountain view properties than other things, things like that. So, I think Amazon also, whenever they do, like, just like I think Modi also does it, whenever he does a Mann Ki Baat, he comes and asks, like, what would you like me to talk about and things like that. So it can be used for many different things to get customer insights and to get a feedback from your audience, basically. And the other fantastic feature is a curated list. Okay, this is very interesting. Okay, so, if you go on Twitter and you're following, like, so many different people, it's very difficult to keep up with who's saying what because everything is in a jumble, right? But curated, what it does is you're able to create lists on a particular topic. Say, like, I want to know about the economy and I'm following a few economists. What I'll do is I'll create a list called economics and I'll put all the people I'm following who are tweeting on that subject under that list. So it's easy for me to follow tweets on a particular topic under that. This feature is really very distinguished in Twitter. And the other thing is you can also share my list with my audience. I mean, I can choose to keep it private or I can choose to make it public. When I make it public, others are able to see what I am following. It helps in a lot of different ways. One thing is you can keep an eye on the competition. You can make a list of all your competition and put them all under one list. You can keep it private, if you don't want them to know that you kept it, you're following them. And you can see what they're doing, right? Otherwise, you have to go and follow one by one separately and see what are they doing. This way, on the one screen, you'll be able to see them all. Then you can also see who's talking about you a lot, like, your big fans. And if somebody is talking about an issue that is dear to you, things like that. You can do social listening in the sense, like, what is their feedback? Like, you can put all your customers under that. Or even you can create a list for your employees and see what they're talking about. And if you make it public, others will also be able to see what your employees are talking about. So, whether they're talking favorably about you or whether they're dissing you, all of that. So it gives a lot of different options to play with this. And you can also identify, like, if you're following some celebrities, you can even tell them that, tag them and say, hey, you know what, I'm following you and I put you under this list. Sometimes they respond. And that gets you a lot of recognition when a celebrity responds to you. So, I mean, there are a lot of different things. The main thing is you have to spend time on the platform to understand how all of these things work. A lot of times what happens is marketers are very familiar with Facebook and Instagram. They're not so familiar with Twitter. And because of that, they don't use it as well as it could be used. So spending time on Twitter to use it personally will help you to, use it better for your brand. Influencers. Okay, this is fantastic in the sense, I mean, Instagram is seen as the platform for influencers, right? But I might feel like, there's nothing like Twitter, right? Because here you're talking, the influencer level itself is different. Like, as we say, where level alagika. So, you have like world leaders, you have celebrities, and, they can really make or break you in a second. I mean, that's how powerful this thing is. Like, somebody is sharing, like, remember this, what's her name? Renu Mondal or somebody. She like went viral because somebody tweeted. She was like one, I don't know if you guys know about her. She was one beggar who sang in railway stations. Somebody captured her singing and put it on some random person put it on Twitter. And some celebrities picked it up and they retweeted saying, hey, she's got a Fantastic voice. She sounded like Lata Mangeshkar. And then some music directors found her and they gave her a chance to sing in movies and they put her on stage shows. They gave her a makeover. Can you imagine a straight beggar turning into a performing artist? That is how powerful this platform is. I mean, these kind of things don't happen anywhere else. But on Twitter, it's like, it happens regularly. Actually, every month or so, every week you will find one
big story because these influencers have been able to do that. One example I'd like to cite is this. Everybody knows about this boycott made in China now, right? Like everybody's talking about whether you're for it or against it. Everybody's aware of it. And a lot of brands have really cashed in on this. Like, come on, like Patanjali's of the world and all are like, oh, we are made in India. And it's really helped some brands. Even I think Samsung has gained over the other Chinese brands because Samsung actually manufactures in India. So a lot of brands have gained out of this particular thing. Now, if you see Sonam Wangchuk, he made one video and he put it on Twitter. That particular tweet was shared like 20,000 times. And it got picked up in other channels and everybody was talking about it. TV channels are talking about it. It came on WhatsApp, it came on Facebook. It was there in it, but it started on Twitter. And what happened was he has a reputation of being he's like some inventor. Because of the Three Idiots movie, he's seen as somebody who's very, he has like so many inventions to his name. And he's seen as unblemished, clean guy who bats for the country and things like that. And he gave people something to do. You don't have to go fight in at the war front, but you can do something sitting at home. It gives people a sense of satisfaction that they could do something for their country. It kind of made the Chinese as the enemies and positioned them as the enemies. It was a clear marketing story, beautifully done. He gave people a hashtag to rally around. A lot of Twitter groups got behind and they, popularized this. Now, if you ask me, I'm not saying it, but if it were sponsored by a political party or a brand, I don't know. We'll never know. But if it had been, what a fantastic way to leverage an influencer, right? It was a beautifully executed story, very well done. A lot of brands have benefited out of this. I'm not saying it was done like that. I don't know. But I'm just making this kind of things could be done is all I'm saying. You could actually play it like this. It won't be an advertisement. It won't be seen as an advertisement. It will be seen as a movement, people's movement. But, what it is, we'll never know. But it can be done is all I'm saying. That's the power of Twitter. To take an idea and make it really big. And that's the other thing. Anybody can go viral. In the sense, as I said, there's one beggar from a train station went viral. And recently also, there was this girl who cycled with her dad. She cycled from Gurgaon to Assam, Bihar or someplace because of the lockdown. And she was going back and the dad couldn't walk. He had some ailment. So she made him sit behind her and then she cycled some 1,200 kilometers or something. Somebody tweeted about it. And guess who retweeted that? Ivanka Trump retweeted that. How did she notice that? We don't know. I think they used COVID warrior or some hashtag which is popular around the world. And of all the people, Ivanka Trump picked it up and she retweeted it. And so this story just went like berserk viral on Twitter. And now the Cycling Federation of India has offered a trial to become part of the Indian national cycling team. State Bank of India, I think, went and gave her some 2 lakhs worth check. Some other company went and gave her something, like somebody sponsored something, whatever. So the point is, she was a nobody. She was just such an ordinary girl who was one of the poor lakhs of migrants that were moving from one place to another. But she went viral because somebody noticed her. So that the ability to go viral on Twitter so quickly is really high. I think the speed distinguishes Twitter from the other channels in that to go viral on other platforms might take a little bit more time, but on Twitter it happens like this, within days, few days it can happen. Brands can also, this is not just for individuals. There was this brand called The Pattern. It's an app. It's an astrology app, weirdly. Not very popular in India, but very popular in the US now. It gives very insightful things about, based on your birth date. It tells about, what you like, what you dislike. It's actually a nice app. You should try it. Youngsters will like it. And it was not very popular. It had been just launched last year. And then this Hollywood actor called Channing Tatum, he tweeted about it, saying that, I downloaded this app. Wow, it's like it knows me. It is so intimate. hey, what are you guys doing? Are you, bugging my phone? How do you know so much about me or things like that? And then within a week, they had 1 million downloads of that app. So, I mean, the power that one influencer's tweet has is something else. Some people are arguing that, he was paid to say that. We don't know. So what if he was? I mean, it doesn't matter. All that matters is that it was said so nonchalantly and it happened. I mean, it brought them, and if they paid for it, money well spent, right? It got them 1 million downloads in a few short days. So the ability to go viral is like really, really huge on Twitter. So these are the 10 very important reasons I think a brand should invest in a Twitter strategy. Spend some time. Don't make it like an afterthought. Don't post content that you made for something else here. Spend some time on it. Humanize it. Interact with your followers, because connections made on Twitter are very, very deep. People are more brand loyal on Twitter as opposed to their following of brands on other channels, because here they have a personal connection that makes them a lot more loyal. Don't get, the one thing to watch out is don't get caught in political games. That's huge on Twitter. My God, the politics there is like mind blowing. So don't get caught in any one camp, because they will decimate you, they will massacre you, they will make people uninstall all your apps. So do not. In fact, this is something a lot of brands have done wrongly before. They would take sides and that's it. I mean, never ever do that. If you want to talk politics, have a separate handle. I have like 4 different Twitter handles. So I use a different handle for different purpose, because I don't want my brands to be seen as like, playing politics. If I want to talk politics, I talk with a different handle, which has nothing. I mean, it has nobody can trace it back to me kind of a thing. Twitter allows you to do it. So do it properly, like, do it wisely. Don't get caught. Just even last week, the reason I'm having trouble with my connection is because I don't have a laptop now. I didn't pour, but I spilled water on my laptop and it's gone. And I'm having to do with my desktop. I'm not able to, I use a MacBook Air. I'm not able to get anything anywhere in Chennai. So I had tagged Apple India and asked them, like, where do you have stock? When can I get a MacBook Air? And somebody from Pune has like responded to me saying, you know what, I have it in stock. Some guy who probably reseller of Apple products, and that I can give it to you. First of all, it's very dicey for me to go contact an individual. Plus, when I went and saw his profile, it was full of like, kind of Naxal kind of a tweet. So it was a little scary for me. So I said, like, you know what, I don't think this guy is trustworthy. So I'm not going to interact with him. But because, he did the mistake of combining his personal handle with his business handle. If you're talking business, do it from a business handle. Don't talk from your personal handle. If a business had come, if a company like, Twitter handle had come and said, you know what, we have it here in store in Malad, in Mumbai, order it with us, I would have ordered, because I am desperate for that product, right? So it's very important to distinguish between these two and don't get caught in these games. The other thing is, don't be shy, interact with influencers. Tag Amitabh Bachchan and talk to them. I mean, what is going to lose? One day he might actually notice you, like whoever, you're the influencer of choice in your domain, whoever it is, tag them and talk to them, follow them, interact with them. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt at all. And if at all it's wrong, you can always delete it. So, I mean, it's not a big deal, right? Then follow trends and try to work that into your content. So trends are always happening. And that's another thing that people do. Like if something is trending, they'll use that hashtag in their tweet, even if it's irrelevant to what they're tweeting. Because that is trending, it will get noticed by people. So companies also do it routinely because, it's happening. Like, who hasn't used vocal for local or Atma Nirbhar now? Everybody is using it, whatever they say, whether it's relevant or not. So, but on Twitter, you will get to hear that first. For companies which are in the B2B space, for companies in the technology space, and if you're a startup, Twitter is a great place to be in because you can make individual connections with real influencers. Like I was following somebody on Twitter and I then discovered that person on LinkedIn. And I actually, messaged him saying like, this is me on Twitter. We've interacted and, we tweet about a particular cause that we're both passionate about. Otherwise, it's very difficult to make a random connection on LinkedIn, right? I mean, you can make a connection, but they don't notice you. But when this happened, he was like, "Oh yeah, it's you," and then we met up, and some business happened, followed, or whatever. So these kind of things happen on Twitter because people are able to see you for who you are. So if you're a startup founder and things like that, it makes sense. I mean, LinkedIn is very impersonal. Twitter is able to make it a little more, as I said, it humanizes handles, so it is possible to do that. Then, of course, customer queries and complaints, please handle them. Spend some time on Twitter every day so that you're responding to queries within 24 hours. So that makes a huge difference. And as I said, now they've recently, just last month or so, they've launched this. Finally, Twitter has gotten on the bandwagon of stories. So like Instagram stories, now they call it fleets on Twitter. So that's a new thing that they've launched. So spend some time on the platform so you learn about these new introductions, and then so you can use them for your brand. So this is all I have to say about why Twitter should be a part of every brand's mix. Not if not every brand, at least like some of the spaces that I mentioned. Definitely, you should consider Twitter because it's a great platform. It would be really worth your while, the time and money you spend on it.
That was a great session actually. So I have a lot of interesting questions for you.
Okay.
So the first thing is, so in your last slide you didn't mention B2C. Why is that? You mentioned B2B
Well,
startup.
I didn't say B2C. I mean, I didn't exclude B2C. I said for B2B, it's a great platform. B2B always struggle in other platforms as well. But on Twitter, it is very useful. That's why I said, of course, B2C, like, Netflix and Amazon Prime, they're all huge on Twitter, all these, and all the mobile phone companies, they're very, very active on Twitter. All the mobile brands. So B2C definitely, I mean, that's a no-brainer. But for B2B also, this is effective. That's
So in a nutshell, every company should be present on Twitter. B2C, B2B, startup, cover everything.
No, the thing is, I mean, every company probably has a presence on Twitter, but they're not using it well. So that is the whole point of the presentation, right? Like, you're there, but you're not using it optimally. So use it better. That's what I was getting at.
The next one is, Twitter is best suited for driving traffic or for leads?
Sorry?
Twitter is best suited for driving traffic or for getting leads?
You both actually. I mean, yes, traffic, probably for leads it would work better than for traffic. Traffic you can get anywhere. As I said, it's not a frivolous platform. People are actually engaged in this platform, so you will get better quality leads out of Twitter.
So what are the steps should a new Twitter account take immediately?
Sorry, what?
So I am new to Twitter. What are some few things that I should do at the very first?
Like any other platform, have a nice profile picture, put a cover picture, you can write a short bio of why you're there, what your interests are, give your, if you have a website, give it there, and start making connections. That's the most important thing. Of course, as soon as you sign up, Twitter will ask what are the topics you're interested in. It would probably ask you about, are you interested in music, entertainment, politics, blah, blah. So, select all the topics that you're interested in. Start looking for influencers or people who make a difference in your line of business and start following them. Twitter is as I said, it's a very interactive platform, just like LinkedIn in that sense that it's not enough to have a presence. You have to talk to people. So, start doing that. Start retweeting. If you have customers who are talking something important, retweet. So that is what you need to start doing to get noticed. Start replying to people and you'll get others will start noticing. But be original. Don't, just going and putting a two haha or like an emoji won't make the cut. You have to have something original to say. So you need some thinking.
It's a good idea actually having different Twitter accounts for different purpose.
I think it's very legal to do that. So yeah, because it makes sense, right? I mean, I am a music lover. I would like to talk about music, but if I'm going to talk in my company about it, I don't want people to know me that personally as to what music I want to listen to. So when I'm tweeting as digital marketing professionals, I won't talk about all that. So that is why I differentiate. I keep separate handles for different things.
So the main way to create a loyal follower base is to post consistently. Or is there anything else apart from that?
See, the posting, the good thing about Twitter is like, on Facebook, if you put 10, 15 posts a day, people will really get irritated with you, right? On Twitter, it's not like that. You can actually, the more you post, the better it is. The more you reply, the better it is. The more you interact, more you retweet, the better it is. So it is important to be active on the channel, at least give some time to it. Like morning, half an hour, I'll be on Twitter. On evening, half an hour, I'll be on Twitter. One thing, you will also know what's happening in the world. You get to know the news and stuff. You can also interact with people and retweet and things like that. So it's spending time is very important. You don't have to spend time making these cute graphics. Nothing. You don't need all that. All you need to do is give your gyan, give your ideas, give your thoughts. That's most important.
So how can you use the right set of mix of content, text, and images? What do you recommend for that?
As I said, there is no requirement for you to post images. Once in a while you can, but it's not required. I mean, if you're doing 15 tweets a day, you don't have to have an image for everything. Don't even bother. I think your ideas are most important. So really, I mean, tweeting and retweeting, replying, all that's important. Images and of course videos, definitely on all platforms, videos are doing well. So if you have a video, share it and things like that. But you don't have to really create content in terms of images or things for Twitter. The more your ideas that matter. And that's why I said it's very good for startup founders and all, because if you're a disengaged digital marketer who's just creating posts for Facebook for some brand, you may not know enough about the company to tweet and interact much. So it's very important. I would suggest for some of the companies that I've worked with, I've always suggested that the CEO gets on Twitter, have a profile, start actively managing their Twitter profiles, because it reflects really well on the company. Of course, the business handle is important to handle customer queries and things like that. But if a CEO can be on Twitter, nothing like it. They should. I mean, I would suggest maybe you should run a session for CEOs to tell them how to use Twitter, because it's very important that they do.
So when should I promote a tweet? Under what conditions should I actually start promoting a tweet?
What do you mean? Like what condition?
So it's like I have a tweet, but I want to promote it. I have a doubt whether I want to promote it or not. When do I go ahead and spend the money for that?
If you, this is what people do. I mean, if you have something very insightful to say about a particular topic, and you think a lot of people will be interested in this, then definitely promote it. If you're just commenting on something and all, then if you're just saying something flippant, no. I mean, if you're responding to a customer query, please don't promote that. But if it's something that about what's his name? Sundar Pichai had something to say about the H-1B visa policy of the US government. Something that everybody is interested in. Go ahead and promote those kind of things. A lot of companies do that. Anything that is, suppose some GST reforms have come or some new things have been announced, and you have something to say about it, or you have something that tells your customers that what, this doesn't affect us, or this is how it will affect us. Those kind of things, definitely. So information kind of a thing, definitely you should promote those kind of things.
So can Twitter drive social media traffic to other platforms? Is that a way possible?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of times, you want to share something long, or you've posted a video on Facebook, and Twitter, I think, has some limits on unless you're a blue tick thing, it doesn't allow you to post very long videos. So there's a limitation on 2 minutes or something. Better than Instagram, but not much different. So, if you want to share something like that, then you would always put you'll give an introduction to it and then post the Facebook post link here. So that is commonly done, yes.
You said about long posts, right? If I have a long story to post, so will I share the link and do it, or will I share it as an image?
Okay, there are actually you on Twitter. Twitter allows you to post threads, so you can actually connect 10 tweets into one thread. So what happens is when the first tweet will be visible, and they click on it, the other tweets will come as replies to that main tweet. So you can actually share a long story, but it is always better to say how many tweets are there. So if you see, there will be some post that says that, 1 out of 5, 1/5 they'll put the first tweet. Last tweet will say 5 out of 5, which means then I know that this is the last tweet in that thread. So threads can be posted on Twitter itself, or you can send them away to on Facebook to see. Image, I mean, you can do that as well, but better to post it as a thread, I would think.
So which metrics should we give importance to based on priority? So what's the priority level for the metrics on Twitter?
In terms of impressions work better. I mean, on Facebook, impressions mean nothing, it's there on the feed, but on Twitter, an impression itself is good enough because, as I said, people do pay attention to what's written on their feed. So impression itself is a good thing. Of course, click through. Twitter doesn't give you as many analytics as, their analytics are very different from what Facebook gives. So you can't do an apple to apple comparison. But impressions and reach are good enough metrics for Twitter. It makes, that itself is a good measure.
So, do you recommend using any external tools for managing Twitter?
Yeah, there are you can use, these standard tools, Hootsuite and all is there. I think there's another thing called TweetDeck or something where you can actually put all your lists as feeds and then compare and all that. For advanced users, yes. For big brands, yes, definitely those kind of things. But for a small startup, you don't need tools. And also Twitter, earlier you couldn't schedule tweets and all that. Now all that is available within the platform itself. So you don't need any of these, you don't need this Hootsuite account or things like that. So you can actually schedule tweets from within Twitter itself now. They also have something called moments where you can compile all your tweets. Your important things can be shared as a moment. Others can see also. You can, Instagram allows you to do those compilations. What are they called? I forget. So same thing Twitter also gives you. So you don't really need external tools. I haven't really felt the need to use any external tool. And the Twitter analytics also is quite detailed. You can download. All that is fantastic on Twitter.
So we have a gym owner or somebody who is using Instagram. How can you use Twitter for personal branding?
Personal branding is really, Twitter is the place for it because you're not just sharing your, where you went, what you did. You're also sharing your ideas, what you think about a particular thing. So if you're a blogger and all, Twitter is really good because you don't have to sugarcoat your ideas with an image and things like that. Your ideas can go as ideas. If you have a brilliant thought, you can just go and immediately tweet it. You don't have to go to Canva and design an image to post it with, right? So Twitter is like that. It's very good for personal branding. As I said, you might get noticed by somebody. It's very easy to go viral on it. I wouldn't say easy. It's very possible for you to. The probability is good. So personal branding, Twitter is definitely a must. But it's important that people learn to, talk share their ideas in a nice way. That will come with practice. But until you start doing it, it's not going to come.
So how effective are memes on Twitter? How did this nascently trend on Twitter?
Memes, that's a very South India or Chennai thing, I think. Memes are just like in any other platform. Memes do. It's the funny thing is if few people start tweeting about it, as I said, if you tweet about a trending topic, you will get noticed. So people jump on the bandwagon. So that is why trends happen so fast. The 10 people decide to tweet on it. Each one can tweet 3 or 4. I've been part of Twitter trends. As a group, we get together and say, hey, come on, let's trend on this topic. And we'll each say, okay, we'll all do 10 posts in this particular hour. So it's important to put it in at the same time, because anything that is spread out over a day is less effective than when it all happens at the same time. Then it gets picked up as a trend. So if you do it like that, 10 friends get together and you do it on a topic, of course, if you have interesting content, then it starts trending. And that's why Nesamani started trending, because like some people, North Indians also, what is this Nesamani? So let's also, they went, Googled it, probably understood it. They also jumped into the fray because it's funny and they want to be part of a trend. That's
great, actually. So how can we amplify the organic reach? Using hashtags is enough, or are there many other things to it?
like I said, see, organic reach is you have to like go and comment in other places, and reply to influencers. The same thing as in any networking, like what you do on LinkedIn or any of those places. That kind of thing is done. Definitely, using relevant hashtags makes a big difference. Tweeting on what is trending makes a difference. Like, something is trending, please do make a tweet about it. Somehow, I mean, that's where your smarts comes in, right? Somehow tie it to what you're doing. If something is happening, like, how can you use Atmanirbhar in your tweet? Like, think about it and then tweet on it. Or like, that kind of a thing. If you do it, yes, definitely. And also, as I said, if you have friends who can tweet with you, get them on board and start tweeting, like, as a group, then you have a good chance of trending. Like, if you have like 10 employees in the company, give them the hashtag and say, come on, this is your task tomorrow. All of you at this time between 8 and 9 o'clock, tweet about this. How do you think Vijay and Ajit are trending all the time on Twitter? This is what they do.
Everybody talks about them, so they keep trending.
There is, I think money is involved also. Groups get paid to talk about these trends. I mean, come on, yeah. Our people won't vote also without money. You think they will tweet without money?
I can see something similar to LinkedIn pods over here. Is this same as LinkedIn pods?
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, group tweets, you can create groups, your messaging groups on Twitter, and then you add people who care about this particular thing, and then you give a hashtag. This happens a lot. They'll give you like, one day earlier, they'll come and say, this is your hashtag. This is the time that we're tweeting about. Get the tweets ready. So people will go and whatever, they'll get 10 tweets ready, original tweets. And the other thing, instruction given is like, you should retweet each other. So if I know that, my group, some 10 people are tweeting, I will tweet 10 times. And then I also retweet all the other 9 other people's tweets, I'll retweet. So it will amplify that so much, and that is when the trending will happen.
So should brands allow messaging on Twitter? Some brands have this send a private message option, right? I have not noticed it for every brand. Why is that?
Some brands are little, I think, wary. Sometimes they get trolled also. So most brands keep their DMs open. You can send them a message, but they may not be just like on Facebook, where there is a difference between messages from people who you follow and from messages from people you don't know or you are not connected to. It gives a separate. Same thing happens on Twitter as well. So you'll have to allow it. Like Instagram also does it. You'll have to allow them to send you a message. Once you allow, then they can send you a message. But there is an option to not allow people to send you message. Some handles will say no DMs, meaning no direct messages. So that's it's a personal choice.
As regarding trolls, should a brand reply or a person reply to each and every troll?
Okay. See, it's very difficult for you to reply to each and every troll, right? I mean, when you know that you're getting trolled, one is you can try and come up with a response, post it and then be quiet, don't worry about it, or you can block it or delete it, depending on what you're getting trolled about. Like when we did that contest, as I was talking about, a lot of people had a problem with the way we were running the contest, saying, oh, no, that one is cheating, this one is cheating, this and that and all that. Then what we did was we came and tweeted saying, okay, this is how we are doing it. We are actually, there was a limit on 1 o'clock, you have to give your last answer. Anything after that is not going to be counted. But a lot of people, after the match started, they'll come and change their tweets. They'll add it with all that rubbish was happening, of course, our people. So we came up with, we actually told them, you know what, there is a tool that we are using where at 1 o'clock, it will allow me to download all the comments on that particular tweet. So those kind of things, there are external tools available. So I would have downloaded all the responses, and only from that I'm selecting the winner. So after 1 o'clock, it doesn't matter if you're tweeting or not. I'm not looking at it. So we gave this explanation and we tweeted it. That's it. We did it once and then we didn't bother responding to each. And what was interesting was we started noticing that there are other people, like, as I said, the brand loyalty is very high on Twitter. People started like, hey, did you not see this tweet? They've explained this. Why are you going and bothering them, asking the same question? And people jumped into the fray defending you. So these kind of your loyal army is very good on Twitter. That is why all these political fights, Vijay Ajit fight also happens. They don't have to come and explain anything. These army will jump in and so develop some loyal followers. They'll do the job for you.
I think that's how OV Army also developed on Twitter. Everything developed using a hashtag.
It's good to have these loyal followers. As long as you're transparent and you're very open about some things, it's easy. I mean, even if they're that Zomato tweet I told about, they got trolled for it actually, a lot of them, because at that time only that guy was eating that picture that had gone viral. Some Zomato delivery that happened. I think this came a little bit after that. So a lot of people were citing that and saying, yeah, why are you saying this? You're being disrespectful, things like that. But you can't respond to everybody. They will always be trolls. So don't worry about that. And really, if you have trolls, that means you've arrived, man. It's a good sign that you have trolls.
But does that lead to uninstall of apps? Does it have that much of an impact?
Yeah, if you of course, I mean, if these uninstall and all won't last for very long. I mean, really, if you're, how many people who uninstalled Zomato at that time are reinstalled now? You think about it. They have come back. How many people who stopped consuming Maggi have started eating it again after that some fiasco happened a year or two back? So, I mean, people's memory is also very fickle. Uninstall, I mean, that's why it is very important to stay out of controversy. Some people think controversy is good. It will get you noticed. But I wouldn't advise it. That's a risky game to play. So stay away from controversies. Other things, if these kind of trolling, some group wants to come and attack you, you can't help it. I mean, that's part of the game. That could happen on any platform, not just Twitter.
So we have the last question for the day. So in one line, tell us why we should use Twitter. Why everyone should use Twitter.
Yeah, if you want to trend, be on Twitter.
That's good.
So I mean, you want to be a trendsetter, be on Twitter. Probably a better.
It's a great session. Nice answering all questions.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot. It was fantastic talking to you guys. I hope this session has been useful to some people, and I hope to see a lot of active Twitter users now. I think Jack Dorsey owes me something for this. So yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Priya. It's been a lovely pleasure. I mean, you pretty much covered anything and everything there is to know about Twitter, starting from your profiles to what you should be doing to how you should be doing it. And I also think you've given us several topics for our next sessions as well in between this. So stay tuned for that, guys. And now I'm honestly considering getting more on Twitter as well. So as you guys already know, super active on LinkedIn, but I'm also actively considering getting more active on Twitter now as well. So thank you so much for that, Priya. What were your top takeaways from this session? What were the lines which you said that Priya, what were the lines which Priya said that you guys loved? Tweet it out, set out on Twitter to Priya and to us as well, so that we amplify that as Priya just mentioned, and you will also have a really cool goodie coming knocking your door. Thank you so much for being with us. Happy World Social Media Day again. Make sure you bookmark this page if you haven't already and enable pop-up notifications. We have a ton of other sessions lined up. I will see you in the next one.
Hold up, just before we leave, this summit will not be possible without you, our speakers, and our exquisite sponsors, HandySense. HandySense are the official partners of Twilio Sendgrid, arguably one of the best mailing tools out there, right? These cool emails we're sending you, as I mentioned, were sent to you through HandySense as well. So make sure you check them out. They make the life of all developers and marketers alike easy. It's completely plug and play. Make sure you check them out, as I mentioned. And for the summit attendees, they have this cool 6 months for free offer and their pro plans are at 20% off as well. Make sure you find the link down there, and we will see you in the next session. Make sure you send out all your social shares with hashtag #ThankYouSocial, thanking the power of social and our digital heroes. I will see you in the next session.